God, there you go. So I'm recording finally, so that all my comments and vocabulary and stuff about the weather just get lost. Let's see that as premium content. So just those of you who joined the session from the very beginning have access to that sort of premium content. Let's leave it like that. So that was a lousy joke, as you can see, for instance. So anyways, so we had a homework, right? And the homework, the first part of the homework was this question, right? Was this question, and the question was, what's the Mercator projection? And actually, yesterday afternoon, I was watching some videos about this video game that I told you about, Age of Empires, and they were talking about real life, real maps that they use in the game, and they were talking about the Mercator projection. So I remember, like, yeah, it was part of the homework. So guys, who knows what that is? We need to know what that is. So what we're gonna do, just for you to, you know, start speaking and getting to talk to other fellow human beings, we're gonna make our, you know, breakout rooms. We're gonna take around 3 to 4 minutes so you guys exchange your ideas of what you found on this concept. You're gonna just tell the others what you found, what the Mercator projection is, so you guys, like, in the groups, pretty much know exactly what that is. Then we're gonna come back to the main session and we're gonna discuss the concept. Okay, so that's essentially what we are going to do. We're gonna go to the breakout rooms and we're gonna discuss that part of the homework. So let's do this. We're gonna have like 3 minutes. Do you have any question about it, guys? No. Nice. So
Nope.
let's do this. Okay, guys, so we're back in the main session. So who wants to say something about it? What's a Mercator projection? Mercator, that's the pronunciation. Mercator or Mercator projection. What's that, guys?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Jose, please.
I say that projection Mercator is a tip or cartography made for a man called Gerardus Mercator in the 1569, and
69.
the new way was the all the superficie of the earth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the surface of the earth. So
The
yeah,
surface.
there you go, the surface. So that's one thing to start with. As Jose said, this projection, it's a technique that this cartographer Gerardus Mercator design. So we know it's a cartography technique or a cartography process, let's say. So this is something related to maps. So this is something they do for creating maps. That's something we know so far. Anything else, guys? Anything else you would like to add, perhaps?
Well, what I investigate is that is a projection of a map of the world.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yes.
Exactly. So if it's a, well, and that's included in the name, if it's a projection of the map, it means that it's a representation. It means that that is like the map, the way we see it. If we say we have a map and we know that that map uses a projection, it means that the map is not exactly the way the planet is, let's say. It's not exactly, it doesn't look exactly as the planet looks, because that's why it's called a projection. When we say projection, it means that we somehow envision, we somehow create a visualization of something else, right? So yeah, for instance, when we talk about money and we say we need to make a projection of the budget, you know. So for example, this word, guys, uh, budget. A budget is the money that you have for something. It's a specific kind of money that you have to buy something or to spend on something. So you have a budget, for example, for university, which means that you have certain money that you would spend on the university. If you're working on a project, then you have a budget for that project. So this is what we call in Spanish presupuesto, right? So if we make a budget projection, it means that we will think about how we will spend money in the coming months. But that's a projection, which means that this is how we see it, but we are not 100% sure that's the way it will look. So, as Felipe mentioned, this is a projection. And as it is a projection, it means, once again, that the world is not exactly the way it looks. So as you guys know, there are some people, and even if it sounds crazy, there are some people who believe the earth is flat, right? I think you've heard about that, guys. I don't know if you've heard about that. Haven't you? Never? Or like, do you believe the earth is flat, which is okay? I mean, it's a possibility, right? So do you understand what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah, I have heard of,
Eh,
like
Nope.
that people believe that, but well, I don't think. But yeah, there are a lot of people that think that. Actually, not here, like in Latin America, if I'm not mistaken, but more on like Europe and Asia.
Yeah,
That
in the
part.
United States, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
Yeah, there are some people who say that the earth is flat, right? So that it is not like some sort of a sphere sort of thing, like a sphere, but no, they say no, the earth is flat. We've got proofs and stuff, and it's like, okay, whatever, right? So they say the earth is flat. So the earth is not flat, let me tell you that. Let's start by saying that the earth is not flat, and we as a species have a evidence on that. We have photographs and stuff that say that the earth is not flat, despite the ideas of some people. So if we know that the earth, and I don't know if it works still, that there was this application sort of thing called Google Earth that I don't know if you guys have used it before. Let's see if it's possible to use it here on the computer, because I haven't used it in months, in years actually. So we know that our planet is like this, right? We know that. We know the planet it's a sphere, so it's not flat, right? So we gotta go right here to our beloved country, right? So Colombia, there you go. So the Earth is like this. But the problem is that if we need to create, if we want to make a map, which is, oh, this is so, I don't know, I feel so much joy doing this. It's like satisfaction all over the place. So if we need to create a map which is flat, right, and we need to convert this into something flat, we know that we need to do something, right? Do you know what I'm saying? So if you want to convert this into a flat map, that's when you have to use a projection. So the Mercator projection is used to convert this into something like this. You see, that's why they need the Mercator projection. So we convert the flat map. Give me 1 second, please. We need to, so we can convert this model, the spheric model, into a flat map. So that's what they use the Mercator projection for. The Mercator projection is for that, to represent this into a flat map. But what's the problem? When they to do the projection, and I'd like to make that question to you, because I heard it in some of the groups. How do they make the Mercator projection? How do they do it? Okay, we know it's a projection, and projection here means converting this into this. Okay, we know it. But how do they do it? Because I know that some of you guys found it. Yeah, guys? You got it somewhere?
Difficult question, teacher.
No, but I heard it. I heard it in one of the groups. In one of the groups, they say it. So I know that somebody has it. I know that. And it has to do with this line. You know what this line is, right? This line here.
Equator.
The equator, exactly. So it has to do with that. I heard it in one of the groups. They said it.
Sorry, teacher, what is the question? I don't listen very well because my internet is a
No,
little
no worries, no worries. So the question, yes, of course. The question is how do they make the projection? Or like what technique or what do they use to make the projection, to convert this into this?
Well, what I said about it is
Mhm.
that, well, it's like a cylinder, and all the parallels of latitude have the same length as the equator.
There you go. Mhm. There you go. So if we make it even easier to understand, thank you, Felipe. They use the equator as a reference. You see, so we could say that somehow, as they use the equator as a reference, as a parallel reference, the problem is that the countries which are
the
in
size.
exactly, the problem is the size, the representation of a size. So the countries which are near the poles, like Greenland, for instance, they tend to be oversized. So they are actually bigger than what they are, you see? So for instance, if we see the map, we see here Colombia, and it looks, as you can see, it looks like Colombia is slightly bigger than Spain, but not that much. So it's like we see that the sizes and well, you know, this is how we perceive size. So this tool that I've got here, guys, which is super cool, is called the TrueSize.com. Basically, what it helps you to do is to compare the size of countries despite the Mercator projection. So you, for instance, take a country, you click on a country. Por favor. Oh my God, I know, it's like, I think it should just type it here. So yeah, I selected Colombia, right? As you can see here. So I can move it around to other parts of the world. So it will automatically adjust the size. So I can see how Colombia is, you see, so it gets bigger. But it's not like it gets bigger, but it's actually that this is the size of Colombia. Can you imagine that? If Colombia was in Europe, it would be something like this.
Yes, the majority of the people said that Colombia is bigger than Europe. That is true?
Well, we can see it here. It's not true, but it's very big, you see. So look, this is Colombia. If Colombia was in Europe, it would be one of the biggest countries, as you can see. It's not bigger than Europe, but it's bigger than many countries. So for instance, we can see that Colombia, like France, could be inside Colombia, and still, it's almost like Colombia could cover both France and the United Kingdom, as you can say, or Spain and Portugal, and still it would have more space. So yeah, it's very big, as you can see. So there you go. So that's what the Mercator projection does. So as we move it near the equator, it gets smaller. So you see, but it's not like, remember, it's not like it's smaller. The thing is that the countries which are in the north or in the south tend to be represented as bigger because of the Mercator projection. One of the craziest cases is Greenland. But I don't know why this is in Spanish. I wanted to be in English, so, oh no, I think it's automatic. I don't know if it's possible, well, whatever, because it's based on Google, so I'm so sorry, it's in Spanish. So one of the craziest examples is Greenland, and you will see it. Greenland. So look, this country looks like super big, right? Greenland here. And remember, as it is in the top north of the world, let's say of the planet, it tends to be represented overly sized. So if we move it, look at this. If we move it, this is just nuts. You see, Greenland is a big country still, but it's like I don't know, like bigger than Peru, basically, but it's not like super big. So as you can see, Greenland is not that big. And look how it is represented. As we move it to the north, it gets super big. I mean, crazy big, you see? So if we compare it to some countries in Africa, for example, well, it's not that big. Same thing happens with the countries in Africa. The countries in Africa tend to be super big. So, I mean, massive. So for example, I don't know, like perhaps a country like Egypt, let's say what happened with Egypt. So if we move Egypt somewhere else, you see, so it gets very big as well. So that's what happens. And perhaps other countries like Australia also. I mean, they are big, but they are not that big somehow. Well, actually, no, yeah, this one is quite big anyways. Yeah. But there you go. So yeah, guys, that's what happens with this tool. So it's super interesting and super cool to use it. And that's something you could use, you know, in a without a code. Thank you. That you could use to talk about this topic and stuff. So yeah, that's more or less how it works. So yeah, the Mercator projection is used to convert this into this, and to do it, they use the equator line here as a reference. So the problem is that when we move the countries around, we see that the size that they, I mean, the way they are represented is not exactly how they actually are. So that's how we could see that Colombia was actually a big country, like a very big country. And Ecuador, also, we always think that Ecuador is a very small country, right? But look, it's almost like Spain. So Ecuador is actually not that small, you see, but as it is represented in the map, we tend to see it as a small country. And same thing happens, for instance, with, well, Brazil it's a big country itself, but it might be actually bigger than what we think. You say, look at that, that's just nuts. Brazil is like Europe, as you can see it, you see, just that country. So yeah, guys, that was a Mercator projection, and that was the True Size tool that I wanted to share with you guys so you see exactly how that works. Okay, do you have any comments, guys? Any questions or comments?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah.
I want to add something.
Please.
That there are a theory in economy that says that, for example, it is one of the points that the North countries are more power because the size of the country it will to give for to give a power for the country. For that reason, United States looks very big, and Russia and Europe and the
Thank
other
you.
countries closer to the equator are more powerful. For example, it's a theory in economy.
Thank you very much, Lina. I don't know how I was ignoring that. I was forgetting that. That is super true. And that's one of the reasons why they criticize this kinds of maps, just as Lina said it. She explained it beautifully. So also maps are seen as a representation of power. That is for sure. And actually, we sometimes we talk about the West and the East, and who decided what the West is and what the East is, right? So actually, if we look, for instance, for a world map, look, world map, just like that. If you just Google it like that, and you find an image, you'll see like the disposition of the countries, the way it is. You see, so it's always represented this way, right? With Africa in the middle, blah blah blah. But why not this way? You see, so it's like there is also political reasons behind it. And as Lina mentioned it, that's a very important point. So we know why it looks like this. We know that is because of the Mercator projection, but also what Lina was stating is absolutely true. It's also used as a disposition of power, you see. So let me see. Just just to see, the United States, that's a big country, you see, but it's like Brazil, more or less, just with Alaska, but it's almost like Brazil. We could say that, I don't know, no, it's, you cannot rotate it. So it's like Brazil, more or less. It's slightly bigger than Brazil. But if we move it to the north, you see it gets like super crazy. Anyways, so yeah, thank you, Lina, for that comment. That was absolutely true. Okay, guys, anything else, perhaps? Nothing?
Before the cartography was very different because in the past the ¿cómo se dice? They draw animals in the water like serpents, no,
Like
snakes.
Snakes and dragons.
Cosas por el estilo.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's absolutely true. All maps were absolutely different, and they were different, you know, representations of like I don't know if we can find something here, but yeah, look, it was actually an art. It was something very beautiful to say, like the way they would create the maps and how they would use all these different representations. So yeah, cartography was absolutely different back then, and now we have other kinds of techniques, right, for that. So like I was looking for something, as you mentioned it, how the maps would be represented with animals and stuff. But anyways, yeah, it was absolutely different. Okay, guys. So I don't know if you are as excited as I am with this topic, but because I really love it, I'm super into it. I really enjoy doing these things. So that's why I wanted to include this also as part of the analysis. And it's just, the thing is that we just use maps just like that, but sometimes we don't know how they are created, and even more importantly, as Lina stated, how the maps can be used also to represent power. I mean, that's important, you see, like in most of the cases, just to see how our country is so big, that makes a difference. You see, that tells us something, and that tells something about ourselves. So that's why I believe it's super important to be aware of that. Okay, guys, so with no further to say about this, we gotta move. Give me 1 second, I'm just looking for the worksheet that we were working on yesterday. Give me 1 second. So you had a very simple exercise to work at home, in which you guys had to basically work on the stress patterns, right? That's what you guys had to do. You had to work on the stress patterns that you found on here in this exercise that we did with the map and everything. So you had to work on the stress pattern. So I think you guys practice using it. So basically, you know how this works, because now we're gonna do an exercise with this. Okay, so we have, as you can see here, we have we have 5 different stress patterns. And now we have, these are cities in Europe, right? We get a number of cities in Europe. So what we gotta do now is to classify these words according to the stress patterns. So how can you do that? So first, if you are not, like you just say the word, so for instance, Barcelona, but if you're not sure about that, my suggestion, as always, is to look up on this dictionary, right? So for instance, this is one of the cities.
Teacher, a question.
Oh my God, it's not here. Yes, mister?
How we can do it with Czech Republic, because it has like 2 different words. So I didn't find a way to do that. I didn't understand.
Oh, that's a very good question. Yeah, in that case, such. Well, good thing is that in that case, yes, that's true. It's 2 different words. Such is actually just 1 syllable, and the stress would be in the U in Republic. So such Republic. republic. So it would be actually something like this pattern. Although making that mention is like republic, it's like this. It's this one, you see? So I would put it here, but always keeping in mind that it has two words. So it's actually Czech Republic. It's like 4 syllables. Or you could use this one as well, but no, because yeah, like you can do it because it's, even though it's 2 different words, you say it like it just one, Czech Republic, you see? So we could put it here somehow, because remember that when we talk about intonation and pronunciation, we don't talk about just isolated words, but we talk about chains of sound. So you could put it here. Yeah, it would be valid if we leave it here. You see? So yeah, that's and something similar happens with the United Kingdom. United Kingdom. So it's like 5 syllables there. So I don't think we have any with 5. I'm sorry. But anyways, that's more or less how it works. But now we're gonna do it with the cities that we have here. So I thought that we could find it here, but I believe that it should be on word reference, perhaps. Let's see if it's possible to find it. So
Teacher, I have a question.
yes,
What?
miss?
How many syllables have Ireland? Because I'm not sure.
Ireland. Okay, so that's Ireland.
Yeah.
It's 2. It's 2. And I'm gonna look for a way here in which we can see that. So for instance, if we look for the word here, Ireland, see, it's 2 syllables. So look, if you look like for the cities, guys, it's not in this dictionary that I've been using, but here in word reference you can find it. So look, it's 2 syllables, as I was saying. You see, Ireland. You see, so we find the number of syllables. You see, so it's 2, 1 and 2 syllables. Because remember that in English, when we refer to syllables according to the sound. So "ir" is just it's like a combination of 2 sounds, but they are just 1 syllable in that case. So guys, if you are not sure about the pronunciation of the cities, I would suggest using word reference, and you can even listen to the pronunciation and everything. Let me just put it here.
You're in that case, the apostrophe divide the number of the syllables?
Actually, yes, because as you guys remember, this apostrophe here is not actually an apostrophe. We said this is a accent mark, a stress mark. I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep on saying accent. There you go. So look. Oh my God.
Ireland.
Island.
Island.
You see, island. So it's 2. So this sort of apostrophe like marks the stress. For instance, this one. Oh no, we cannot listen, but we can see the stress. It's Bucharest. You see, Bucharest, because the stress mark goes here. Bucharest. So we know it's 3 syllables, as we can see. Although there are several possible pronunciations, as you can see. You see, it's like we can say it Bucharest or Bucharest, you see? But as this one is the one which is presented first, it means that this one is more common, okay? You have to be careful with that. Okay, guys, this is just a small mention. Whenever you look for a word in a dictionary, the definitions and also the pronunciations are in the order of popularity, let's say. So the first definition of a word means that that's the most common, right? And the same thing happens with the pronunciation. So this is the most common, then the second, and then the third. So Bucharest is the less popular pronunciation. So we would have that. In that case, it's Bucharest, you see? So that's how you would, guys, do this exercise. If you are not 100% sure about the pronunciation, you can look up on word reference And here you find the pronunciation, and just make sure you check this. Remember that this apostrophe is the stress mark. It's like the equivalent of a tilde. So we have this stress mark right before the syllable, which we need to stress. Remember, this is a suggestion. This is a piece of advice I gave you. It's like whenever you have to make a presentation, guys, like for instance in the exercise we did for the storytelling, whenever you have to do that, if you are not 100% sure about the pronunciation of a word, use a dictionary. We don't use a dictionary just for the meaning of words. We also use it to know to know how to pronounce words properly. So that's why we need to do it. An additional option we may have is like if we can use the Google Translator. We can use Google Translator, and for instance, we write the word here, and
Bucharest.
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 Okay, we have so many different pronunciations for it.
Bucharest.
So you can try it out there. Okay. Do you have any questions, guys, so far? We're gonna do exercise number 2 from your worksheets, from yesterday's worksheets. So this is the exercise number 2, in which you have to put these words into the column with the correct syllable and a stress pattern. That's what you guys are going to do. And this is something we're gonna do in the breakout rooms. You're gonna do it in groups. Okay, that's it, guys. So let me recreate the groups. There you go. So we're gonna have slightly bigger groups from 4 to 5 people. So guys, we're gonna take around more or less 5 to 7 minutes to do this exercise, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do the exercise together. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
So thank you for allowing me to do that. So let's do this, guys. As you can see, it's not that easy actually to do this kind of exercise. And of course, we need to be careful because sometimes the pronunciation might change depending on the language variety that we are studying, if it's British English or American or whatever. So that makes a difference. So so yes, guys, that's something to keep in mind. Actually, talking about that is like, and that's a reflection that I just started like 3 years ago, more or less, talking about the different accents and stuff. And it is that somehow, if they ask you about, for instance, if they ask me, what's your accent in English? I would say my accent is Colombian accent, right? That's my accent. It is as simple as that. My accent is Colombian. But the thing is that depending on the media and depending on the resources that we have been exposed to. So for instance, we know that here in Colombia, we are very exposed to American culture. If we talk about English, and if we talk about pretty much everything, you know, so we are quite exposed to American culture. So that's the reason why some of us, when we are learning English, we end up learning the American variety of the language, right? So that's natural because we listen to music in English, and sometimes most of that music is American. Even more with movies, Hollywood, right? So we are so exposed to that variety. That's why we end up studying it. So sometimes it happens that, and that happens with some teachers. It's like they study a variety and they want to impose that variety, and when their students use a different variety, sometimes they are not fully aware that that variety is also a possibility, right? So we end up making corrections which are not needed to be done, you see? So for instance, I'm gonna just show you a word, and I will show you how the pronunciation changes so bad that sometimes we don't even know who's wrong, right? No. So how do you pronounce this word, guys?
Esquerul.
Excuse me?
Esquerul.
There is a little problem here with this sound. So it's perfect, but you missed this one. So it's not schedule, but schedule. I will show you here on the dictionary. So just for you to see how it looks. Although it will show you what the problem is. So look, this is the American pronunciation, which is closer to the one that you are using. So let me just share computer sound.
Schedule.
You see, this symbol, which is like a number 3, is the je sound. Je. Remember, that's like, for those of you who might be studying French, this is like the je, and in the pronoun I, je, it's like that sound, je. So schedule, schedule. You see, schedule. There is another problem that we have as Spanish speakers, and it has to do with this initial S sound. So guys, how do you say this one, for instance? How do you say this? Would you? Anybody?
Sport?
Nice, nice. Okay, that's decent. But I think you've heard that sometimes people say sport, sport, right? They say sport. So they somehow include this E sound at the beginning, which doesn't exist. So it's just sport, you see? So yeah, one possible pronunciation is the one that Felipe used, schedule, schedule. But the British pronunciation is super different. Look at this.
Schedule.
It's like, seriously, dude? I mean, that's super different. Schedule, you see? Schedule, schedule. Actually, it's really hard. Schedule.
Schedule.
Schedule. I don't know. Schedule. And the first time, and it was when I was talking to a colleague, and she said, and she hated this word, and she said that, like, schedule, and I was like, that's not correct, woman. And she was correct. The thing is that she studied in the UK for so many years, and of course she would have a more British accent. So you have to be careful, because sometimes it's not like you are wrong or the other person is wrong. It's like there are other possibilities, and it applies, of course, also to cities. So guys, we're gonna do the exercise just to see the answers. So we got a graphic. This is the graphic you guys were working on. So we had like essentially 5 different possible stress patterns. Remember, stress patterns, not accent patterns. That's actually a mistake I even make. You guys have heard. So in the case of the first pattern, what are the words that you guys included there? Okay, I'm gonna do it myself just to make it a little bit faster, you see? So let's see what are the words that are classified in each one of the columns. And you guys just double check just to see if your answers are right or not. So the first one is Dublin, Dublin, okay, Dublin. And this is the capital city of, do you know that, guys, by any chance?
Ireland.
Ireland, but remember, there are 2 islands, remember? So which one?
South Ireland or Republic of Ireland.
Republic of Ireland, there you go, Dublin. The next one we have is Paris, right? Paris in France. So we had, I think, just 2, yes, Dublin and Paris. And also, I'm sorry, Belfast, Belfast, you see, Belfast. This is the capital city of Northern Ireland, Belfast. Then we have Cardiff, Cardiff. This is in Wales.
Sorry, teacher, is north or northern?
Northern, northern, northern,
okay.
yes. It's written like this. Let me just show it to you. Northern, Northern Ireland. I don't know if it's also, they also say North Ireland. I don't believe it, you see? I don't know. You see, no, it's always Northern. If you Google North Ireland, it will show it. Oh, I forgot that, right? I forgot that, guys. Yesterday, I wanted to ask you about this flag also when we were talking about the United Kingdom and everything. I'm gonna explain it super quick, okay? So I don't know if you guys know what's the name of this flag, because this flag has a name. This is called the Union Jack. It's called like that, Union Jack. And this is the flag of the United Kingdom. Okay, it's not the flag of England or Great Britain. It's a flag of the United Kingdom. And basically, as you will see it, this flag is the union of the flags of the United Kingdom, but Wales. So this is sad. So as you can see it here, it somehow tries to combine. These are the flags of the countries in the United Kingdom. So England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. So this is like a combination of actually these three, because Wales is not here. So if it should have a dragon in here, so it would be a perfect combination of all the flags. So now you guys know that. You guys know that the Union Jack, I'm gonna write it down here so you guys know it. The Union Jack, that's the name of the flag of the United Kingdom, this one. And the flag of the United Kingdom, it's a combination of the flags of the countries, except Wales. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why they excluded Wales. There might be historical reasons, I believe. But as you can see, we can see the flag of England, we can see the flag of Scotland, and we can see the flag of Northern Ireland, as you can see it there. Okay, so yeah, this is something I forgot to tell you yesterday. So that's why I wanted to say it. So we have Dublin, Paris, Belfast, Cardiff, and Poznan. You see, we have the same stress pattern for these 5 words. Dublin, Paris, Belfast, Cardiff, Poznan. Then in the second column, we have Madrid, Madrid. So as you can see, it's just 2 syllables, Madrid, and Bilbao. Bilbao. It's not Bilbao, but Bilbao. And it's 2 syllables, Bilbao, Bilbao. That's how you pronounce it. The next one is, the third pattern is Barcelona, Barcelona. So it's 4 syllables, as you can say. And the stress is in the O right there, Barcelona. Next one is, and that's the only one. In the fourth stress pattern, we have Amsterdam. 3 syllables, we've got the stress in the first one. So Amsterdam, as you can see at Amsterdam. And Bucharest, Bucharest. Question for you guys. Do you guys know where Bucharest is? Bucharest is the capital city of which European country? No idea? Okay, I'm gonna make a little pause here. This is like el sabías, el dato sabías que de hoy. Qué pena si me pongo muy ñoño con eso, pero es que de verdad creo que es importante, o no sé. ¿Cuáles son las lenguas romances, chicos? Ustedes deben saber eso, ¿cierto? Las lenguas romances.
Que vienen del latín.
Son las lenguas que vienen del latín, ¿cierto? Hay un grupo, una familia de lenguas, muy bien, una familia lingüística que viene del latín. ¿Y cuáles son esas lenguas?
Francés.
French.
Portugués.
Francés,
Español.
francés, portugués, español, ajá. ¿Cuál otra? Francés, portugués, español. Esas son las 3 más famosas, claramente, pero faltan varias ahí. ¿Y ya?
Italiano.
El italiano también, ajá. ¿Cuál se nos estará perdiendo? Francés, portugués, español, italiano. Esas son las más populares, claramente. Pero hay otras 2 que la gente suele ignorar mucho. Bueno, una que es como reignorada, pero hay otra que es más o menos... So, for instance, in Barcelona, they speak that language in Barcelona as well.
Catalán.
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 Ajá, catalán. Y la más ignorada y que nadie sabe y que es como, seriously, they speak it in Bucharest.
Budapest.
No, in Bucharest.
Hungary.
No. No saben el esfuerzo que estoy haciendo para contenerme porque me empiezo a acordar de historias y no quiero contarlas porque aquí nos quedamos. Pero
Maybe could be the capital of Romania.
Romania, yes, Romania.
Romania.
which is
Romania.
another misunderstanding we have in Spanish. In Spanish, how do you say that in Spanish, actually? Romania.
Like Romania?
There you go. Yo siempre lo dije así, Rumania. No, es Rumanía. Yo no sabía, se dice Rumanía. No Rumania, sino Rumanía. Para mí es Rumania, suena mejor, pero no, se dice Rumanía. Romania or Romania, they speak Romanian there. And that's another lengua romance. Es una lengua romance también. El rumano es una lengua romance también. Listo, que es como la más ignorada de todas. Y ustedes lo escuchan y suena un poco parecido. Es una lengua extraña porque aunque es una lengua romance y es, pues, por lo tanto, viene del latín, tiene muchísima influencia eslava, o sea, de las lenguas rusas, ¿cierto? Las lenguas eslávicas, no rusas, eslávicas. Entonces suena como el ruso, pero es una lengua romance, ¿ok? Y de hecho, este país es interesante, digamos que dentro de la cultura literaria inglesa, hay una obra que es súper famosa, which is this, right? We know that, and we all know that, Dracula. We all know that, and we know how this goes and stuff, but there is, like, historically speaking, whenever we talk about this, whenever we talk about Dracula, we need to make a division between the historical character and the character from literature. So this is a question for you guys. Who is the author of this book? Who's the author of this book?
Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker. There you go. I think this is the spelling. If this is not the spelling, I'm so sorry. This is like I would feel super bad. Oh yeah, it is. Oh no, I missed a C. I included a C and it has no C. I'm so sorry about that. So Bram Stoker is the author of Dracula. This is an Irish author. He's from Ireland. So this is one Dracula, which is the book, and the book, right? But there is another Dracula, which is whose name is this, Vlad Tepes, and this is a historical character, and perhaps you guys have seen this illustration. I don't know. This illustration is super famous. I don't know if you've seen it, guys, this illustration before. So this is a historical character, Vlad Tepes. Yes.
It has many movies, and the most actual, for say that, it's the most relevant to his story.
The most recent, well, I don't know. We could have a discussion there. The most recent one it's called Dracula Untold. That's the name of that movie. I haven't seen it, and I need to watch it. I mean, I need to watch the movie, but I already hate it. But I will tell you someday why. But the thing is that this is a historical character, and he existed and everything. And this guy, he's a hero in Romania. He's seen as a hero in Romania, although there are historical records that he was a very mean guy. And the reason why he's called Tepes is because of a practice that he would do, which I don't know how to say in Spanish, by the way. Vlad Tepes means literally Vlad el empalador, but I don't know how to say that in English. Impale. So you can see here what empalar is. So he was called Vlad Tepes because of that practice, and this character inspired the story of Dracula. So Bram Stoker based his book on some of the stories told about this guy. So this character was real, as I say, Vlad Tepes, that's the name, not Vlad Tepes. Some people say Vlad Tepes, but no, it's Vlad Tepes, which is a historical character. Let me just see if it's the Romanian pronunciation somewhere. Well, yeah. So this character he was the inspiration of that Bram Stoker used for Dracula, the one we know from his book, let's say. So all this tradition, this narrative tradition of the vampires start here. So let's say that we could say that Vlad Tepes inspired the story of the vampires and stuff. You see, so this is the real Dracula, let's say, different from the one from Bram Stoker. So whenever, guys, we talk about Dracula, we need to talk about those two options, let's say. So one, Dracula, is the one from Bram Stoker, the one that inspired all the books and movies about vampires, including Twilight, for instance. So that's Bram Stoker. And then we have the Dracula, which is Vlad Tepes, which is the Romanian character. Okay, so that's a difference we've got there. So let's continue. So we were in Bucharest, then we have Budapest, right, which is in Hungary, Budapest. And then we have Dusseldorf, which is in Germany, Dusseldorf. There you go. And then the last pattern, which was Vienna, you say Vienna, Vienna. And then we have Sofia, Sofia, which is, this is in Bulgaria, if I'm not wrong. Yes, that's Bulgaria. There you go, guys. So these are the stress patterns we have there, and we also share some crazy random stories about that. So guys, we're gonna do now a listening exercise. So this is the net. Actually, if you check on the worksheet, the next exercise was to look for the countries that correspond to all these cities, but I wouldn't like to take the time to do this. This is for you. I would say this is a optional piece of homework. If you want to do this, that's absolutely okay, but it's not that relevant for the work we are doing. So the worksheet task 3, that's optional. So if you want to do it, I would do it because I love this topic, but that's optional. If you don't want to do it, no big deal. Although it would be cool if you can. So we're gonna jump to the worksheet task number 4. So we are here, guys, in the worksheet task number 4. Okay, so what we gotta do is this. We're gonna read through the statements before you listen. And we're gonna discuss in pairs whether they are correct or not, but that's later. And we're gonna write true or false. So what we're gonna do is a little bit different, actually. First, I'd like you guys to read the statements individually. I would like you to take a couple of minutes just for you to read. I would like you to read all these statements in detail, very carefully. And first, I'd like to see if you guys, I would like you to see if there is any word that you don't know, if there is a word that you don't know first. Second, to see if there is a word that you don't know how to pronounce, if you have doubts about how to pronounce a certain word. And third, I'd like you to see if there is anything about the spelling that you find interesting, like something regarding spelling, you know, the way we write it. So first, to see if you understand. Second, to make sure that you know how to pronounce. And third, to see any spelling details that perhaps you would like to highlight, okay? So if that's okay with you guys, I'd like you to take a couple of minutes just to read the statements and be aware of, as I said, meaning, pronunciation, and spelling, okay? Okay, have you guys finished like doing that? So we can do it together little by little. So first I said like, let's see if there is a word that you guys don't know. Is there any word that you guys don't know? By any chance? Excuse me. Oh yeah, on the chat. Okay, port. Okay, it's just like in Spanish, basically a port, like a puerto, basically. Puerto. So that's the meaning of port. It's a puerto. It's simple as that. But we're talking only about meaning so far. So is there any other word apart from port that you guys perhaps don't know? I think that's it, right? Like the rest of them are quite easy. Now, talking about pronunciation. So somebody asked about this word here, like this. This is a city in England. So yeah, Portsmouth. Although they would say like Portsmouth, right? Like without the R sound, Portsmouth. And this one, Birmingham. Although the Birmingham accent in England is quite particular. Actually, it's like one of the best representations of what we would call the British accent. So they would say like Birmingham, because the R doesn't sound. So you can say Birmingham or Birmingham. Those are the two possible pronunciations for that. What else? London is more. The right pronunciation of this, guys, this brand. Do you know how to pronounce this one?
Volkswagen?
Somehow, yes. I mean, the right pronunciation, like if we want to pronounce it perfectly, we would have to pronounce it in German, right? And we're gonna get phonetical here again. So if you guys remember, I said whenever you want to pronounce a word perfectly, you need to be aware of two things: the point of articulation and the way of articulation. Remember? So basically, you need to be aware if where in your mouth the sound is produced, and also if your cords should vibrate or not. Those are the two things that you should keep in mind. So the V sound in English is super different from the V that we use here in Colombian Spanish. So in our case, we can say Venezuela or Vaca the same way. The V sound is not actually different in our Colombian Spanish. But in other varieties of Spanish, they do make a difference. And in English, V is super different from B, you see? So one thing is to say Budapest, Budapest, which is bilabial, just like that. But this one is not bilabial. We said that in another class. This is labiodental, right? So it's V. This is the way we do it, like V. So if we pronounce it in English, it would be Volkswagen. Volkswagen, again, here is not wagon, Volkswagen, no, but Volkswagen. But in German, they would pronounce this as a F, as an F sound, I'm sorry, F. So Volk is not Volk, but folk. You see, folk. And this is a word that you've seen before, guys. And I know that you've seen this word before, folk. You see, folk. When you see this word folk, what comes to your mind, guys? When you see the word folk?
Music.
Like music, but what kind of music?
Traditional music of their country specifically.
There you go. That's true, right? So when we say folk, it sounds like folklore. Folk that sounds like traditional, like something from the people, right? So folk actually, like in German, they write it with V. They write it like this, but this is the same thing here. So actually in German, they would pronounce it like that, folk. And folk means like the people, like el pueblo, you see? So este es otro sabías que para hoy quizás. So this one, guys, oh, where is it? Folk mean like como pueblo, no? Y wagon means car that comes from car in German. So if we translate that into Spanish, Volkswagen means el carro del pueblo. You see, that's what it means. Volkswagen. Volkswagen literalmente significa el carro del pueblo. So the two possible pronunciations will be Volkswagen with V Volkswagen. Or if you want to be like perfect pronunciation, then you should say Volkswagen with F, with F, with F. Although here in Colombia, they would say yo tengo un Volkswagen, right? But it's not Volkswagen, it should be Volkswagen or Volkswagen, if we want to be like perfect. But you know, that's how it works. Actually, for instance, if you have to go somewhere and buy something, I don't know if it happens to you, it's like you know the perfect English pronunciation, but you don't use it because you would sound weird. So imagine that you go to a little shop to buy some shampoo and you want to buy some HAS. See, so I remember like some years ago, people would say Head and Shoulders, right? So you wouldn't go to this little shop and say, me da un Head and Shoulders, por favor, un Head and Shoulders. That would be like, cálmese, niña, ¿sí? Or niño. Like, why do you say that way? So it's like we know the pronunciation, but we don't use it because it sounds weird. So whatever, right? So yeah, Volkswagen. So Volkswagen cars are produced in Göteborg. So that was a pronunciation. Volkswagen or Volkswagen, remember. And Budapest is in Eastern Europe. So that's about pronunciation. What about spelling, guys? Is there anything related to spelling that you say, wow, that's interesting, or this is weird, or you have a question about that, or nothing? No? No questions? Are you guys still there? No questions. What about this spelling, guys? This word. Do you see something particular here? Nothing?
Maybe different of the country. Maybe it's different to in UK and in USA, but
Yeah,
means the same.
exactly, Lina. That's what I was asking for. So is this British or American pronunciation?
That is British, and in American is center.
This is British.
Uh-huh. So this is American, this is British. And the question would be why, right? Why is it different? And that would be another question for you guys. Like we know that varieties of the language are different and the accents are different and so on. But talking about spelling, why is it different? Why is it different, right? Like, why is it different? Like, why do we say like center here, center, and here we say centra? Why do we write it differently? And even more with words like this, guys, that we know, right? Why is it like that, right? Which would be a very interesting question if we ask why the British pronunciation is different from the American. So the first thing to say is that, of course, the British accent is older, of course, because the American accent is somehow newer. It was, let's say, created somehow later than the British, of course. But one of the things that you will find, and this is something we have been talking a lot about, like the difference between the accents. One of the differences that you will find in the American versus British accent is this, that some words in American are shorter, you say, and that happens a lot. There are lots of words that are shorter than their British counterparts. And one of the reasons, and this is what history says, is that basically the Americans decided to shorten certain words so they could include more words when printing documents. So basically they made the words shorter so they would use less space when printing, you see? So that was just a matter of economy, let's say. So they created shorter words just for economy, basically, we could say. So as some people say, we could say that capitalism changed the English language. That's something some people say. There you go. So those are some of the differences we can find there. Okay, guys, do you have any comment, question before we do the listening exercise? No? Well, hopefully not. So it seems like not. There you go. So we're gonna listen to this sound, to this audio, and you guys simply have to write true or false according to the audio. Okay. So give me 1 second. I'll make sure I'm sharing the sound as well. Yes. So let's play it. But first, you guys have to tell me if you can listen well. Give me a second. But let's do it with VLC. I love it. I like it more.
Right. So it's 1 point for each correct answer.
Can you guys hear well?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit like this. Okay, guys, so let's listen. I'm gonna leave it like here so we can see also the text. Sorry, 1 second. Here it is, looks better. Here we go.
Right. So it's 1 point for each correct answer. What do you think? Has Rotterdam got a port or not?
Yeah, I think it has.
Yeah, it has, definitely. In fact, I think it's one of the busiest ports in the world.
Correct, both of you. Okay, next question. Is Cardiff in Scotland?
Yes, I think it is.
Me too.
No. Cardiff is the capital of Wales. Okay. Is Milan in the south of Italy?
No, I think it's in the north.
Me too.
Correct. Now, this is a bit more difficult. Which has a bigger population? Portsmouth or Birmingham?
Not sure. Portsmouth?
I think Birmingham is a bigger city and has a bigger population.
Yes, Birmingham has the biggest population. What about this one? Cambridge is famous for its university.
Yes.
Correct. That was easy. Now, is Riga in Russia?
I don't think it is.
Neither do I. I think it's in Estonia.
Well, it's in Latvia. Okay. Is London more expensive than Zaragoza?
Yes.
I haven't been to Zaragoza, but I've been to London. And believe me, it's a very expensive city. So yes, I agree.
Correct. Okay. And is Las Palmas a tourist resort?
Yes.
Yes.
Easy. But this is more difficult. Do they make Volkswagen cars in Gothenburg?
I don't know, but I'll say no.
I don't know either, but I'll say yes.
The answer is yes. And finally, is Budapest in Eastern Europe?
I think so. It's the capital of Romania, isn't it?
It is in Eastern Europe, but it isn't in Romania.
Correct. It's in Hungary, which is an Eastern European country. Okay, let's count up the points and see who has won.
Okay, guys, so that was it. Would you like to listen to it again? Just to make sure you guys had the answers right and everything. I don't know.
Yes, maybe.
Okay, you guys are super shy today or super sleepy. I don't know. So I'm gonna play the audio once again, and then we're gonna check the answers and we finish.
Right. So it's 1 point for each correct answer. What do you think? Has Rotterdam got a port or not?
Yeah, I think it has.
Yeah, it has, definitely. In fact, I think it's one of the busiest ports in the world.
Correct, both of you. Okay, next question. Is Cardiff in Scotland?
Yes, I think it is.
Me too.
No. Cardiff is the capital of Wales. Okay. Is Milan in the south of Italy?
No, I think it's in the north.
Me too.
Correct. Now, this is a bit more difficult. Which has a bigger population? Portsmouth or Birmingham?
Not sure. Portsmouth?
I think Birmingham is a bigger city and has a bigger population.
Yes, Birmingham has the biggest population. What about this one? Cambridge is famous for its university.
Yes.
Correct. That was easy. Now, is Riga in Russia?
I don't think it is.
Neither do I. I think it's in Estonia.
Well, it's in Latvia. Okay. Is London more expensive than Zaragoza?
Yes.
I haven't been to Zaragoza, but I've been to London. And believe me, it's a very expensive city. So yes, I agree.
Correct. Okay. And is Las Palmas a tourist resort?
Yes.
Yes.
Easy. But this is more difficult. Do they make Volkswagen cars in Gothenburg?
I don't know, but I'll say no.
I don't know either, but I'll say yes.
The answer is yes. And finally, is Budapest in Eastern Europe?
I think so. It's the capital of Romania, isn't it?
It is in Eastern Europe, but it isn't in Romania.
Correct. It's in Hungary, which is an Eastern European country. Okay, let's count up the points and see who has won.
Okay, guys, so let's see the answers. Let's go back to the presentation and let's see the answers. So we finished. So guys, Rotterdam has got a port. What's the answer to this one?
True.
Is it true or false?
True.
Yes, it's true. Number 2, Cardiff is in Scotland. You know what? I'm gonna choose who answers. I feel like it. I'm so sorry. So number 2, Cardiff is in Scotland. Ashley, I would like to listen to you. Ashley, number 2, Cardiff is in Scotland. Ashley, are you there? Oh, that's a shame. Ashley Sueloso. So let's continue with Juan Paramo. Would you please help me with that one? Juan, number 2. Cardiff is in Scotland. I'm so sorry. Juan is also, like doing something else. So Yaritza Garcia, would you please help me with that one, the number 2?
Teacher, I hear the audio is failed.
So Yaritza?
It's false.
Cardiff is not in Scotland. That's the capital city of Wales. So Juan wants to answer number 3, right? Milan is in the south of Italy. What's the answer to that one?
True.
That is false, right? That was not in the south, it was in the north. So let's continue with Johannes Martinez, number 4.
That is true.
That is false. Birmingham
Oh my
is bigger than Portsmouth. That's what they say. Let's continue with who's there? Like Tanya, would you please help us with the number 5?
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's perhaps one of the most obvious one, right? Maria Alejandra, would you please help us with the number 6?
False.
That is false. That is false. Riga is not in Russia. They mention a different country. Remember the country?
Latvia?
Latvia, yes, Latvia. Latvia. In Spanish, we call it Letonia. That's why it sounds super weird. Letonia or Latvia. Let's continue with Daniela Rodriguez with the number 7. Daniela? Okay.
Sorry.
Number 7.
False.
That is true. London is more expensive than Zaragoza. Was not false. Yeah. And believe me, it is. Alejandra Arce, would you please help us with the number 8? Alejandra. Oh my God. ¿Por qué les gusta hacer el oso? O sea, inserte un sticker acá de Super F. You guys have it. Alejandra, that's a shame. So Andres, Please, Andres Felipe. Anyways, so guys, tomorrow we're gonna continue working on this. I'm so sorry, I don't know what's wrong with the recording. It's like sometimes it's a problem Zoom has. Sometimes it would simply just stop recording and I don't know. It has stopped and that's why it happens. I'm so sorry, guys. So the only homework so far will be to continue reading the book. We are reading the chapters 7 and 8 during this week. Brian Aguilera, guys. Brian Aguilera?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. John Jairo Herrera, he's not here. Ana Maria Buendia.
I'm here, teacher.
Andres Felipe Bueno.
I am here, teacher.
Angie Carvajal.
I'm here.
Jose Diaz.
Here.
Jose, it's Jose or Jose? What do you prefer?
Jose.
Jose, okay, nice. Valentina, Tatiana Spitia.
Teacher, she has some problems
Some
with...
issues, okay. Sorry about that. Jeritza Garcia.
Here, teacher.
John Gonzalez.
Here, teacher.
Tania Gomez.
Here, teacher.
Santiago Hernandez, I know the cat broke the microphone, I know. Ashley Wesa.
Here, teacher.
Marcelo Jimenez not in the house. Linda Lopez. She wasn't here, I think.
Teacher, she has issues with the connection.
I know, yeah, she told me. That's a shame. Johanna Martinez.
Present.
Clara Monroy.
Present, teacher.
Tatiana Obando.
Present, teacher.
Ana Maria Ortiz.
Present, teacher.
Dylan Paez.
Present, teacher.
Juan Esteban Páramo.
Present, teacher.
Estefanía Portugués.
Present, teacher.
Lina Rodríguez.
Present, teacher.
Daniela Rodríguez.
Present.
María Alejandra Triana.
Present.
And Gloria Velandia.
Me.
Okay, guys, once again, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Teacher.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you, teacher. Have a nice day.
Bye. You too.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Thank you.
Teacher, will you share that you have the record?
Yes, I will share the recording, but I don't know why, as I say, it was not recording. I mean, I think it didn't record the whole session. It just, I mean, I will share whatever I have, but
Okay.
I'm afraid it will be just a little part. So that's a shame. So let's see.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure.